Hey girlies.
Hello.
How are we?
We're
Very
good.
You seem very nervous.
We're caffeinated.
Yeah, fair. So am I. So am I. I got an extra shot of my latte, but here we go. Introduce yourselves.
I am Bethany, and I am an artist under the name. I go by an artist under the name Berta Kennedy.
I'm Carron. I am a musician
Mm-hmm.
who plays for Berta Kennedy and other people. I play guitar and bass and tin whistle.
The tin whistle.
Yeah.
That's kind of a flex.
I know.
So, Beth, you're an upcoming artist, or Berta? Do you want me to call you Beth or Bertha?
Just call me my name. Yeah, like
Just call you
Beth.
Beth.
Yeah.
You're an upcoming artist. You're on BBC Introducing. You've
Mhm.
recently got funding. Is that right? And you've been signed to a label.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I know. That's quite an intro.
Are you allowed to talk about your label?
Yeah, of course.
Who are they?
Actually very on brand. They are it's Enough Records, ran by Charlotte and Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And they it's a label made specifically for like females.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, is it?
yeah.
Where is it?
Where?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're from Dundee, but I mean it's wherever the artist is, you know.
So no, but like, they're based in Dundee? They're not based in
Yeah.
Edinburgh. That's really cool. Wait, how did they find you?
So Charlotte was hosting like songwriting camps.
Mhm.
I think it was for them to see like who they maybe would like to bring onto the label, as well as it's just like a networking, like community building thing for women in the industry,
Mhm.
women and non-binary, or just basically like not men.
No men allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. And then. Yeah, and it's really good to create a strong like community, and like women can get to know each other, non-binary and producers, songwriters, all the likes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so that's how I met them, through that.
And then, Karen, did you get scouted by them too, or is it because like, are you a band, or is it just like?
I guess I'm just like a strong +1
Okay.
with Beth all the time.
So did you get funding too?
No.
No.
But it will benefit you.
I guess, yeah. Like where she goes, I go. And
That's
Play
kind of
guitar.
cool, to be honest.
Aw.
That's very, very cute. How has it been an artist nowadays? I can imagine it's rough.
rough.
Yeah.
I enjoy it most of the time.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I do enjoy it all the time, or else I wouldn't do it. I mean,
yeah.
And I also think
Like,
it's like a
he's-
really exciting time in the Scottish industry. Like, there's so many upcoming artists. And in my
Yeah.
last podcast with Leif, he was talking about how exciting it is. Like, all these art, like, it's just a very exciting time. There's so many people popping up.
right?
And I've never seen this much going on in the Scottish music industry. Like, there's rappers coming out now,
Mhm.
like, all of
Mhm.
that. But, like, at the same time, it's like, kind of have to, it's a bit of a fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice though. I feel like there's like a lot of people on this level in the same boat, and it's more of
Mhm.
a community rather than like a
Tearing each other down.
yeah. No. So
Yeah, I think
it's fun and
it
like
is
it's
getting
quite
better.
social.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not like a, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, I think it used to be a bit more so, or it can be,
Yeah.
but I think there's a stronger sense of community developing.
Yeah, it's
I
quite
would
nice.
say.
Yeah.
And what are your personal experiences as artists?
I love it, obviously, but it is tough. Like, if someone asks me like how is it, my head doesn't go straight to it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It actually goes to like a negative place, which is actually quite sad.
It
Just
is
realizing
sad.
that. I don't know. It's just like, obviously, like you've got. It's hard to like stay afloat financially and be creative. That's like the biggest, I think, issue that every creative faces.
And can I bring up your most recent song that you brought out?
Yeah.
It's like, it's about your mental health. Are you okay talking about that?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Of course.
so Beth and I worked at a restaurant in Edinburgh together, and that's how we became pals. And I remember being there when you were really not in a good place, and then
You were literally right there.
I was right in the moment outside of you.
You stopped me from like just fucking moving country, and
Yeah,
I quit my job, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd never seen you like that before, and I remember I was a good 40 minutes late to my shift because I was like, I'm dealing with this right now.
that great Beth having a mental breakdown. I can chop late.
Yeah, I was like, oh, class, a wee break outside in the sun. Yeah, I remember seeing you through that, and then you coming up with Travel at Peak Time, and Do you want to talk about that? Because that was...
It's a very personal song.
Yeah, it's a very personal song. Like, even listening to the lyrics, I'm like, that's coming from your heart, girl.
Yeah, but it's also humorous. Got to keep the humour up to avoid real emotion. Yeah, I think Travel at Peak Time says it all. It's just like basically being in your 20s and being like, what's going on?
It's brutal.
And
it's so brutal.
Try to figure out how to do what you love whilst paying your rent, especially in Edinburgh housing crisis.
Yeah.
And energy
lives.
bills, cost of living, cost of lives.
Cost of lives,
man. What about you, Karen?
What, my mental health?
How are you, Karen? Well, I don't know. Sometimes I always think you're like cheery, like dee dee dee. I'm playing guitar for the Met Day, paying bass for the.
This is when she fully comes in. She's like, I'm fucked.
You gotta help me. Actually, it's actually not all about you, Bethany. You gotta help me.
I guess I'm not an artist, so I don't have that. Like,
that's a lie.
No, but like
artist.
I'm.
Yeah, but she's a session musician.
Like, I want to play for people like who are artists. Like, I wouldn't really be like, I'm not a brand. I'm not releasing stuff that's mine. You know, so it's less pressure of, I don't know, trying to achieve something like which is like my child.
Yeah.
And more just trying to be like a level of, well, like I want to also be in a place where like I am like recommended or known, so a lot of pressure to like say yes to any opportunity, but then obviously you can't say yes to everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I feel less pressure definitely, but
I'm just thinking of like us having domestics in the house where you're like, you're being too hard on yourself. I'm like, you don't know what it's like. Just even the way you're saying that.
But it is tough because like you're saying, like there's a pressure to like say yes to everything. You want to grab every opportunity, but you must burn out so quick.
Oh,
and also
yeah.
if you're not,
she has burned out. Like
it's yeah.
She gets whole styes, like
I call her out.
And like
you look
loses sleep, all nausea, all the you full on.
I
taking on way too much.
I can take on, like, I'm so bad for that, but it's like that pressure of if you want to be freelance, like you don't know when your next job's going to be.
Yeah.
So.
And being young, like I think especially with like social media times, you're seeing all like the girl bosses and like people grafting and making like fucking bank. Like it's such a young age, and you just feel like, oh my god, like I need to start doing more, and like living in this society, sorry to get into this, but in this society, like if you're not doing something, like you're seen as lazy. Do you know what I mean? If you're like, I will have like a day off and I'll be like, I need to do something because like what am I achieving? I'm not doing enough. It's really, really brutal.
Internalized capitalism, I guess.
Internalized capitalism.
Fantastic.
Literally, it's really,
having
really
this conversation just yesterday with the tattoo artist talking about a freelance creative.
It's hard, especially for
mental,
creatives. Like, do you not remember when was it Boris Johnson, like the Conservatives brought out like to try like retrain like your career, like change your career path.
Oh,
and
what
it was
was
that
it?
advert of that ballerina, and it was like change your path, like don't be creative and don't do what you love and like make money for the government, right? Like it was so bad.
I couldn't believe that actually got out there. Like no one stopped that from.
Because that all came out as soon as, so we graduated in 2020 with like art degrees, music degrees, and then these posters started popping up, and I was like, oh my
so like your
God.
degree is useless. Try again, maybe be a doctor. Do you know what I mean?
Or
But,
like Meltdown Central.
It's not for everyone, you know.
It's funny because like what in that kind of society that Bojo wants, what do they do with their free time? Like, see when they're finished their office jobs, and then what do they do in the evening? Like, what do? You consume art, like you
completely.
watch that. Art is beauty, entertainment, like that's what actually keeps us going. So you literally need it. Like in that world, what do they imagine doing at night? Just staring at a wall?
Yeah.
Or during the entire lockdown, like when no one was working.
The lockdown.
Imagine a world with no music or podcasts. What a miserable life that would be.
I guess they'd all just be listening to like classical music.
Imagine just like looking out the window on a train every time you were commuting to work. That'd be so rough.
But then I think people in our generation are overstimulated.
I was gonna say, like, imagine actually having time to like process your own thoughts.
Like, I can't walk down the road to the supermarket without listening to music.
Do you know, I've been talking to someone recently that I'm working on something with, and they're reading this book, and they're saying there's a segment in it. It's like a kind of motivational book, and there's a segment in it that's about mind wandering and how when you leave your brain to like no music, no nothing, it's like better for it. Which it sounds dumb, like obviously, but he's been like trying it more. He's
Wait,
like,
I think I know who you're talking about.
I'm getting whole like sections are getting finished in my head because I'm like choosing to not listen to music like on the train or sometimes to the shop, and it's like your brain needs time, but I don't do it either. I'm so bad. Always listen to music.
And you like burnt out really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should mind wander.
Yeah, maybe you need a minute to just be with your thoughts, because sorry, we went on a tangent there, but
We
back
did.
to like your mental health and your song coming out, and like it was talking about like difficult time in your 20s and not knowing where you're going and stuff. Like, was that like, where did that come from?
What do you mean, where did it come from?
Like, was there a build up? Was there something that like switched in your head, or was like
yeah. So it was like coming out the lockdown, like everyone was bored. I was like really productive in the lockdown, which I hate to be that guy, but everyone like handles things differently, and I personally like I was like
I thrived.
no, like time off, and I was like getting some. Like, I was like universal credit for a bit. There's a part where I was like pure skin, and then there was like another part where things weren't fully open, but I was making money from like that job. We worked in a test centre for a while. And that's like the most free time I've had, and like I managed to get stuff done, like I released stuff, and then I was like, oh, like I'm gonna need to like work again, like I need to socialise, I need to meet people. Enters Mash Bar, and I was working loads, like so much, and was kind of abandoning music. It was a choice, like I chose to do it, and I always forget that, like I chose to work more because
but you had to,
because I was bored and I had to, and I was enjoying like being financially stable. It was weird. It actually was for a bit. But then I was starting to feel guilty in myself for like abandoning music stuff, and was getting like too invested in like hospitality, getting like sucked in by that kind of instant gratification of like doing a job, getting money for it. And then I don't know, things just like got to a tipping point, and then like the label found me when I was still doing that, and then I was starting to make plans with them, but like was still working the same amount, and I also like produce my own stuff, so that's really like, a lot of work, and then it just all
yeah, I think it needed out.
It needed to.
But like what you were saying with like working and stuff, and like you were like enjoying being financially stable, like that's just like the bare minimum, you know what I mean? Like everyone needs like, and I think also as an artist yourself, there like a lot of artists are very privileged, and you have had to work while grafting at music, and a lot of people do get a step up. Like it doesn't mean that they're not deserving of it, but like they still have a step up from other people, and they have an advantage, whereas you're still having to work, and as a waitress you still need to make money to survive. You can't spend all your time doing music, you know. You need to actually, you know, eat, pay rent. Like, you know.
And it's so funny. See what you were saying earlier on about like you see these like girl bosses on like Instagram or that. It's like, or these guys with these setups and they're like these home studios, and you're like, where did all that come from? Where did you get all that equipment from? And like, how do you have time to sit around and just like produce? And then you're like, oh, I'm comparing myself to the wrong people here. I'm working 40 hours to pay my rent and actually like enjoy my life for a bit. I have a secondhand like fucking desk that I got from Facebook Marketplace in my room that I produce from. You know, it's like we're not the same. Like clearly when you see a certain type on Instagram and it's like you come from money, like obviously.
Does it anger you?
No, it doesn't anger me. It's just like you do you. It's just I really need to remind myself not to compare myself to others. Like that's just
it's so easy to though.
That's just the most important thing. Comparison is the source of all evil.
Do you think some of them don't deserve it?
Can
be honest. I mean, you're not calling anyone out.
I know.
I just think there's maybe some people that like not necessarily don't deserve it. They just don't realize how privileged they are.
I feel like if you're talented, that you deserve to reap the
like,
benefits of that.
you can still be privileged and have a step up, but you can still be a grafter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can still really work
but
hard
I think
at
you
it.
should be able to recognise that you have had a...
If you recognise you've had a step up,
then
of
on you
course.
go.
But
Yeah.
and we're all privileged in a way. Like,
Yeah.
we're all white.
Yep.
We all live in the UK.
Yep.
We're all able to pay for ourselves, you know? Like, as much as I'm struggling financially right now, like, I'm not going to end up homeless and then not being able to eat. Do you know what I mean? But I can still graft at a podcast. Like, back to privilege. I'd quite like to talk about pretty privilege as an artist.
Yes.
Because obviously, I mean, it's huge.
Yep, 100%. With like artist identity is a big thing I've like not struggled with, but definitely experimented with is a better word. I remember like I used to like post pictures. This is like a big, my understanding of pretty privilege is this. I like tried to dabble with it for a bit, kind of like subconsciously, and I got like these pictures taken with like my friends, and it was like a sexy photo shoot almost. And then would post like that I was like gonna take out a new song, like bring out a new song with like these photos. But this didn't feel like me at all really, but I was like, I need like something eye-catching.
Yeah.
So like tried to mess around with that for a bit, and you know it's so sad, like the pretty ones like where like a little bit of like boobage happened would get like so many more likes than like just me like in the studio or like dressed like a normal fucking person.
Yeah.
Like it's so a thing. It's so a thing. Like pretty privilege.
Oh, completely. Like
100%.
whenever I've now like kind of realised a good way for me to promote my podcast is to post like a picture of me looking
selfie.
good.
Yeah.
Rather than just like the podcast on Spotify being like, new episode. And one thing I like compared me posting like the thing you can share on Spotify to your Instagram story to a photo of me like posing in front of the mirror with like a little see-through black top on, little bra, like posing in the mirror with like the link to the Spotify. And you know when people like your stories, the amount of people, like the amount of men that like that story, I think I had like 20 likes, like most of the men and a couple girls. And then when it was the Spotify episode on, it was like a couple likes from my friends. Like, it's
heartbreaking,
just crazy,
Yeah,
isn't it? And like, I'm not gonna lie, I will use it to my advantage.
Yeah, that's
completely.
That's the thing. It's like, do we kind of?
I mean,
go
it's
for
there.
it, or do you?
Is it
try to rise above it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it bad for us to exploit it, or is that just how the world works and we have to play the game?
Well, it's like what we were just talking about earlier was when like you were saying some people are financially better off, or like Bank of Mum and Dad. It's the exact same. Like they're using
Bank
the
of
privilege
tits?
they've got. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
using.
and I will use my privilege of being like, a pretty girl. Speaking of pretty privilege, there's this one story that I wanted to tell while we're on the topic of a restaurant that I used to work for in Edinburgh. And I remember I got a job there through a friend of mine, and they didn't even ask for my CV. They just asked to see a photo of me. And I didn't know this until I started, because I did like a trial shift and I was like, do you want my CV? And they were like, oh no, you've got the job. And like I hadn't even started the trial shift yet. Like they just wanted to know if I was pretty or not. And then I got my friends a job there as well, one of my good friends. And the same thing happened. The manager was like, what does she look like? And I was like, what? And I was like, she's got experience. Like I've worked with her before. Like we're like best mates. Like I can vouch for her that she's like a good worker. And I've worked with her. And he was like, show me a picture. And I was like, what? So I showed him. And she was like, yeah, she can have the job. Just like that.
Jesus.
Just like that.
No shame.
Yeah, absolutely no shame. No shame. And now he's got like an 18-year-old girlfriend and they live together and he's like 27. That's all I'm saying, and I'm leaving it at that. But yeah, like...
Isn't that like... is there not like laws against
Of
that?
course there
surely?
is. It's disgusting. Do you remember how bad Hollister was? Like, do you remember Hollister?
Yeah. But like...
Hollister's not as bad anymore though, but like, remember like outside Hollister now, like Abercrombie and stuff, they'd have like topless men. Like, how weird is that? And like girls would be cutting about in shorts and bikinis, and like you're literally in like like not Buchanan Street, like Glasgow,
It's January, like.
Hollister. It's January, mate. What are you doing standing outside? They were like handing out flyers. Bless these wee like Scottish like cold men, not even like ripped like tanned like Californian men.
And I'm like, there's something to work with there. I'm like, can we use that technique?
Of course you can. If you pose nude, people will go listen to your music. Of course they will. And that is what's so messed up about it.
But like what comes with that is like, and like what using your pretty privilege to get a step ahead is like that afterthought of, am I getting these opportunities because I deserve it or because people think I'm attractive? And that
Of course.
like,
Of course.
or because I'm a woman, did I get that opportunity, or is it because I'm good at what I do? Like that
Completely.
is huge.
That is a very good point. But I think if you're maybe I'm like talking out my arse here, but like I think if you're like secure enough and you believe in yourself enough, then it's maybe not actually no, I don't know, because like
I think the securing yourself thing is actually a good point. 'Cause
yeah,
you can reap the benefits like we were talking about, and just go on, do your thing, keep grafting, work on your craft, and just come out the other side and be like, yeah, I'm pretty, but also
yeah. And I think especially like if you're reminding yourself, like obviously you're always going to question yourself, like, do I actually deserve to be here? Like, have I actually been given this opportunity because I'm good at what I do, or because like I'm attractive and like there's like something there and like that's all they care about? But I think if you genuinely just remind yourself that like you are good at what you do, and also see like maybe the reaction that you get from like other people will like, from like, I don't think your friends will ever like lie to you. Do you know what I mean? Like you can also tell when your friends are being like, yeah, you deserve to be there. Like I think close ones around you should be able to tell you, like
check you,
you know what I mean? But I've got another story about that, about not thinking that I deserve to be somewhere. So basically I used to work for this company. I really don't know if I should be sharing the story.
As long as you're not naming any names, it's fine.
No, I'm not naming names. You know the story, finally. I used to work for this company, and I actually got a job there because I slept with the guy. Because I slept with the guy who owned the company. Yeah. Okay. And I didn't sleep with him to get the job. Just putting that out there. Like, I slept with him before I knew he had a company. And it was like the second or third time that we met that I realised that he had his own company. And then he was like, I think that you'd be a great asset. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, sure. Sure. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And then I was low-key had this thing. I was like, I'm sleeping with the boss.
I'm an asset.
I'm an asset. I'm sleeping with the boss. Oh my God. Wow.
Such an ego boost. I want to be called an asset.
So I was like, okay, if you insist. And so like obviously we continued sleeping with each other, and obviously you got your love goggles on and everything, and I was like, are we about to be like a power couple? Like Beyonce? Are we about to make bank and like be huge? And obviously not at all, actually, like, a complete opposite. And he moved away and everything, and like we continued to like chat and stuff, and then like we were like sexting and all that stuff, and then I was like, what? This is really not healthy. And I was working on commission, and I think I made like £35, and I did so much work for this company. Yeah, I got mugged off so bad.
He must have been really good looking.
Or good in bed at least.
Yeah, to be fair. Moving on. Anyway, yeah. So that like kind of towards the end I was like, he gave me this job because he wanted to shag me. Like, I know. And the whole time he was like, no, you're just such a great asset, Gabrielle. And I was like, oh, okay.
But on what part of his life, you know?
Yeah, literally. And the whole time I was kind of like questioning myself, and I was always have to say to him, I was like, do you really think that I fit this role well? And he was like, no, you're great. And then one time he let it slip, and he was like, also, like, when you're making videos, everyone likes to see a pretty face. And I was like, ha ha ha, there it is. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, we've got a winner here. There you go. So that was a good example of it. And that kind of knocked my confidence for a little bit, because I was like, am I just a pretty face, or like, am I actually good at this? And now I'm starting to realize, you know what, I am good at this.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm taking back that power. But yeah, it was, yeah. It does stuff like that. Like, as much as like I can't be sitting here complaining, being like, oh, he called me pretty, like, how shit. Like, it did make me think, like, am I actually just, do I not have a brain?
Yeah, I guess like every situation has its ups and downs, pros and cons.
Yeah.
You know, 100%.
I got really mugged off. 35
pounds.
And I did so
Power
much
couple.
work. Slaying the game. But yeah, that was a pretty bad experience. I can't believe I've thought about it as well.
Well, thanks for sharing.
This is the safe space.
Karen, I pure want to know, like, so you've like recently, we think that Karen's like peaking, right?
You're in your peak era.
She's like she's got like different pairs of glasses now.
I have like 3.
I do like your glasses.
And-
I should have worn my glasses.
Oh, I know you should know.
Yeah, I don't have my contacts.
Start again.
Sorry, can we start from the
And
beginning?
then you got like
Wait, Finley's giving me.
Oh yes, here we go.
I really hope that you're not mega blind.
on brand.
Oh, you're actually. Why can I see better? What are you?
5 minus 2.
I'm a 9 minus 1.75.
Oh, perfect.
What?
Amazing. You sit them.
Thank you. Sorry, go on.
Very serious now. You got your like hair styled recently, different, and you also I feel like dress a bit more, just like
You're dressing better, Karen.
you're dressing. We've both been on
So
this journey
sad.
together as like flatmates, like buying like cool socks and that. And
Love
like,
the socks.
we need to up our game, like our brands, you know. And I want to know if you have been seeing a difference in how you've been treated. Because Karen used to be very like same hair, ponytail every single day, t-shirt,
Every single
skinny
day.
jeans, like hoodie, shyer, you know, more shy. And I just want to know if you've noticed a difference in how you've been treated. Because there's that whole like the less, you know, like oh hair flicky or crop top. Like if there's none of that, I think you're more likely to be taken seriously. I think the prettier you come across, sexier you come across, the less serious you're taken.
I guess I've not noticed hugely. But I've also been far more busy this year than I have when I was in uni. So I guess I've had just more experiences with interacting with like other men, like people in the industry. But I think, and I know I've got work for just being female.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally been said
Which,
to you.
It's been said to you.
yeah, it's been said to me. But
Wait,
sometimes it's
let's talk about that.
But this is hard because I'm like, because part of me is like, oh yeah, like quotas should exist.
Quotas, pro
And
quotas.
I should get work. No, like, well, it's hard. Like women should get work,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe it's a good thing I'm getting hired because I'm a woman. But then the other half of my brain is like, you only got this job because you're a woman.
Yeah,
They don't know that it's because I'm
It's
good.
just back to like,
Right.
the thing you're saying, like you're actually questioning if
yeah, if you're good
Like
enough.
and like that is a hard
That
hard
must be
game
very
to
hard.
to deal with when looks regardless. Like that's become more apparent this year. So I don't know if it's because I'm peaking or if it's just because I'm a woman. But that's a thing.
or if it's because of just raw talent.
Yeah, but like it's
Oh,
like
but you missed that that
Well, no,
category.
no, I'm like I struggle like if like am I getting hired here because I'm a woman and they're ticking a box, and I do agree with that, but it bothers me sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Like
it
you
would
agree
bother
with
you.
the idea of it,
Or is
but
it
to
because I'm
actually
good?
be the one receiving it, it's like
Yeah, because
oh,
we're all feminists here, so we're like, yeah, women deserve work.
Yeah.
But then like the
when you
idea,
actually get it because you're a woman.
yeah,
like,
because I got hired in a shop in Glasgow because I was a woman. Like that was it. I was 16. Just you're a woman, you'll do. Like that was it. There was no like, oh, I think you'd be really good at this job because you're chatty and you
Right. Yeah.
bring in a lot of sales. You fit like the vibe of the store. It wasn't that. It was just you'll do. Like
just go
we'll
back to
pay
what we
you
were talking
£4.5
about.
an hour.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole different.
That's a whole other different conversation.
16.
But yeah,
Let's
like
just go back to what we were saying. It's like if you're given the opportunity, like I guess it doesn't really matter why. Just rock it, like make the
Yeah, I mean,
most of
like,
it,
take it and
prove
then
that you deserve to
kill
be
it.
there.
but then that is also like we shouldn't have to be here proving ourselves. We should just be told, yeah, you are good enough. Like, and yeah,
Yeah.
you are a woman, which is like that just shouldn't even be a thing, you know. But we're constantly like we're having to reassure ourselves, and obviously like we should just be like everyone should be secure enough in themselves, but which is like not a thing. It's very difficult, you know. But like, it's tough, like having to reassure yourself all the time. But like, no, I deserve to be this. And like, I get horrific imposter syndrome. Like, so bad. Like so bad.
Yeah.
Like I listen, but like, see when obviously like when we're listening back to this podcast, like I'm listening to it like 10 times. And by the end, I want to like punch myself in the face over and over again because I hate myself and I hate the way I sound. I hate the way I speak, you know?
I hate Travel at Peak Time. I hate that song now. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, literally. As soon as I hear anything about myself, I'm like, oh my God, you're the worst human being on the planet. You're so annoying.
I literally open your mouth when you sing. I sing through your nose.
It's because you're pecking yourself apart and you're like, I don't deserve to be here. You know? Like, no one wants to listen to me. It's so bad. And I think also as women, we're so harsh on ourselves because we're having to constantly prove ourselves all the time. God, that felt good.
You know when that imposter syndrome is the worst? This is it's not necessarily related to like the whole feminist rant. It's playing live.
Bro.
I start to get like so embarrassed and just like, who do I think I am, like rocking up here like performing to an audience, like that's when my like, see me on gig day, worst mood, like foul mood.
It's hard to be
like,
around you, no offense.
Don't even like, I'm like basically silent half the day, like, and people I think it's like, oh, funny games. It's like it's so rough. It's just it's so weird, like,
because it is also, you are putting yourself out there and like being vulnerable. Like singing is quite a vulnerable thing to do, I think. Like
100%.
You know, especially when you're like starting up and like intimate crowds. I don't know how you do it.
Oh no,
that's the worst.
Like I'd rather be singing in front of like thousands of people.
Oh yeah, when there's like one entity, you know.
Oh God, that makes me feel so
see when you can see their faces.
The hardest part of your career is the start, like literally for that reason.
Yeah.
Intimate gigs, like put me in a stadium, grand, fine.
Yeah, sell me out.
See, yeah, she'll thrive. See if I've got this wee gig, like half hours promoted gig. There's like 3 people in the audience. No.
What if it's people you know? Is that worse?
Yes. If you've invited people to your gig, like, oh, come see this, and then like there's no crowd, and like that's their impression of what you do with your time.
I swear I'm better than this.
Yeah, just sing Time to Room sometimes. Fun.
It takes a while just to warm everyone up, yeah?
Oh mate, imposter syndrome, I struggle with it so bad, like so bad.
Yeah, who doesn't? Do you know what I mean? It is.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. Like, I think everyone, like, as much as people pretend that like they're really like, no, I'm like such a boss at what I do. Everyone's gonna have those moments where they're, you know, I'm sure Beyonce's up there being like, I don't deserve to be here, you know.
I mean,
I'd hope so.
Yeah, I'd hope
no,
so.
Actually,
Beyonce,
I hope she doesn't actually.
Yeah, no,
sorry, I take that back.
Don't inflict.
Sorry, Beyonce.
No, like, I'm not saying I hope she.
Sorry, Beyonce, if you're listening.
I obviously don't mean it in like a, I hope that she feels shit about herself. I mean more like, I hope she's human, you know?
Yeah.
But then I also would like to hope that this feeling would go away. Like, I don't want to spend my entire life being like, you got to be on top form today because if you're working with a group of men, like, you can't be the weakest link. For my whole life, that would be pretty sad.
I wonder when it stops.
But yeah, will
like,
it stop?
I wonder if,
Yeah.
I hope it stops.
like, Ariana Grande, Dua Lipa, to name a few.
They
like,
definitely
I wonder
still.
if they still have their moments where they're like, oh my God, like, I have, like, you know, I don't feel like
inflicted by men, 100% still.
Mm-hmm.
An innocent imposter syndrome where it is just your own head. I don't know. Hopefully that will go away, but it's definitely still inflicted by
I think
men.
maybe
100%.
you should get Beyonce on like next week and we could like get to the bottom of this.
I have to reply to her messages.
Okay.
I've left
Yeah,
her in bed for a couple.
it's
Yeah,
awkward.
I did patch her a couple of days ago.
Bliss.
I'll reach out to her.
So going back to getting more likes on pictures where, like, I don't know, you're showing like a bit of cleavage, for example, or the vibe's a bit more sexy. I had to experiment for a while with my identity as an artist and how I like to come across in terms of style, like on stage, online, and I realised actually that's not at all my vibe. Like, I prefer to like actually like cover up a bit. I like oversized t-shirts. I like that almost like a kind of androgynous inspired style. I like to wear the caps. I like comfort on stage, I start to sometimes on stage, if I'm wearing like a small top, I'm like, why am I wearing this? Like, I start to question myself as well, and it took me experimenting with brand identity, like art and my artist identity, to realise that. But then there's that, why do I feel silly on stage if I'm dressed a bit nicer? That's like another thing, and it definitely comes down to knowing that people aren't taking me as seriously. Like, I hate the thought of wearing like a really nice top on stage and like people are like looking at like my tits instead of looking at my band and appreciating how good the music is. And also, I know that people will assume I just write songs and sing if I'm dressed nice. Like, I know people will assume that, because sometimes I've assumed that of like pretty girls, like people with their nails done, lashes on. I don't assume that they're a producer or an engineer. Let's face it. Do you?
That's just like internalized.
Yeah, I was gonna say
misogyny. Do you know what I mean?
It literally is, and I hate that.
And like I when I'm proven wrong, I'm like, fucking hell, like you are a woman, and
Yeah.
what are you doing?
You
like
assume
just
that.
or like I wouldn't say I'm surprised, but I'm like, oh nice, and I'm like, well, you don't do
Yeah,
that.
you're
You're
always like,
not
oh,
like,
pleasantly surprised. You're like, but why wouldn't I
Why?
just assume that?
yeah, I don't react like that when I hear a guy
Yeah.
produces his own songs. I'm not like, yeah, bro, good on you. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh, sounds,
It's
yeah,
very assumed.
yeah.
And I struggle with that, like on stage, or how I want to look. Maybe one day I will swing all the way like 180 and wear like nothing on stage and be like, yeah, I do produce my own songs. What about it? But I'm not there yet, and I think it's a survival thing in the industry, like in the up and coming industry. I think the way you dress and come across, like visually, is really related to like how seriously people take you, or how talented people like think you really are. You know, like, I'm more than just a singer, so I'm gonna cover up. Like, that is so weird, but it's kind of true, I think.
So you've experienced a lot of sexism and misogyny.
In the music industry, yeah.
Is there anything you're comfortable with sharing?
We can have full story time.
I've got stories for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen's got loads.
I could probably talk to you for hours about, I mean, like, some are small, some are huge, but I'm trying to think of some good ones.
Just go ahead.
I mean, like, one thing that's huge is the word actually. Every time you come off stage,
Actually?
that was actually really good. Or you're actually really good at guitar. I'm like, what? Why are you putting actually in there? Like, you don't need to say, oh, that was actually good. I was like, it was just good. Like, guys don't get that. Like, my bandmates will come off stage and people are like, yeah, that was sick. They're not like, man, Jules, like, that was actually great. It's like, that
so
doesn't happen.
Patronising.
And I'm like,
they're so
and
patronising.
like, sometimes I don't even notice, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, well, thanks. And I walk away and I'm like, oh, bastard. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Yeah.
They got you. Tell them about the one recently with Jules.
Okay, so like, I mean, I play with majority guys. Like, I'm the only female in a lot of these projects, like Berta, actually. And they are all angels and they have my back, but people we bump into during these gigs are not. But one time very recently, the sound guy was like, at the end, he was like, oh, like, that bass today was sounding great. And Jules, my bandmate, was
Who
like,
is a man?
who is a man?
But
Sorry.
the name is not that obvious. But
A lovely man. Turns around and goes, it's her, it's not the bass who's good. And I was like, oh, thanks, because I didn't even catch that.
That's the bare minimum, though. Why are we applauding
the
that?
bare minimum.
I know, I was like,
That's another Jill story. Ah, yes, the bare minimum.
Oh yeah, so I started working with these guys, and was walking out our like first practice together or something, and the guy whose project it is was like, how are you feeling? Like, are you on board? Like, you enjoying it? And I was like, yeah, no, lovely vibes. And I was like, and I actually feel like really respected here. And he goes, great, the bare minimum. But to me, I was like, this is amazing.
The bar is
I was like,
literally on
feeling
the floor.
safe.
This is so ridiculous.
You asked me my opinion. It was crazy.
That's insane.
The shit that Karen's had to put up with. Go to town on some bands you've been in.
I mean, I could go to town on not even a band I was in, but I was once playing this gig, and it was like a day festival kind of deal, and so there was a big green room that all the bands on this bill would share, and it's like, you know, snacks, beers, blah blah blah. And I went up and I was like with a band who were guys, and I was like, I'll go get some beers from the green room and I'll bring them down and we'll chill and have a beer and watch this band. And to get into the green room, you needed a wristband to say that you played. So I was like, went up and I go into the green room, and there's 3 guys who look something like a mixture of like Grease and emo combined. And already the vibe was already, I was like, oh, here we go. And he turns around to me and he goes, only bands are allowed in the green room. And I just hold my wrist up and I show him my band, and I don't say anything, and I walk past them, and then I can hear them like snickering and stuff, and I was like, great. And I'm picking up my beers and I walk past them again, and like the vibes were just like, you know, you just like trust your gut. I was like, this isn't good. And then I tried the door and it was locked, and they just start howling, and I was like, oh, like, why is the door locked? And he's like, oh, I locked it. And then they just start fucking pissing themselves, and I'm like, why have you locked it?
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but the worst part is the latch. So it's like a latch, but it was like on top of the door, and you had to like pull it down like a toilet door, like a sliding one. And I couldn't reach it, so they found that even more funny, and I had to wait for them to then get up and let me out, which was like the longest 30 seconds of my life.
That's absolutely terrifying.
I mean, like, at the time I wasn't scared, I was just like, oh, fuck's sake. But then,
because you knew nothing bad was going to happen, it's just like they were literally ridiculing you, like humiliating.
But
I was
they
humiliated
locked you
in the
room.
Yeah, like, thinking about that later, I was like, that is so fucked up. Like,
that's honestly
like,
terrifying.
Started, like, I would have been like, that's like,
you wouldn't have. How would you have gotten out? Oh god, I'm so sorry. That's actually horrible.
Yeah.
Who are they? We'll beep them out, but just tell me.
Oh, but the best part is, right, so then I played with my band, and then they were headlining, so then they're about to play, and the power goes out in this venue, and they can't play, right? And so then they went and switched to this tiny venue, but at this point, the vibes were gone, and the audience just goes home, so they play to an empty room next door, and they've travelled all the way from Sheffield to play this, and they drive all the way back, and I was like,
that's karma.
Like, oh, no, it's such a shame.
That's disgusting that they did that though.
So many stages of that story are so wrong. Like, even the first part of
them being like bands only.
Bands
right,
only.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then locking you in a room is so. Just like my heart pounded when you started saying that.
I don't think they would have even realised or meant it to be as creepy as that. I think they were just trying to humiliate you by like, haha, she won't realise we've locked it, and then she'll like look like a tit. But they've not realised that you're the only woman in that room, and they've put you in that situation. Like,
and I didn't even know them.
Even noticed how creepy that is.
Didn't even know their first name. Like, we hadn't like had like chats beforehand, and we were kind of like acquaintances. Like, I had no idea who they were, and vice versa. I was like, what makes you think that's okay? Like, you wouldn't do that to a guy.
It's also really shit chat. Like, really shit chat.
Yeah, just can't open the door.
Yeah, like, so we've locked this poor woman in a room. Oh no, man! Like, what? Like, that is awful.
Like, you bunch of predators.
Yeah.
It's
like, what's this scared little girl gonna do? It's like, that's so weird, mate. Yeah, and also just really not funny. Like, I'm like so. Oh no, I can't.
The music industry, the up and coming Scottish music industry, is no exception to like creeps.
Really? Well, I think maybe we can talk about when we 3 went out together.
Yes.
To that club in Edinburgh.
I was gonna say
and
that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
I like, obviously no names being named. But me, Beth and Karen went on a night out in Edinburgh. Actually, like only 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And obviously you two are in the music industry, so you're well connected, and Edinburgh's a smallish place. And we walk in, the club is dead because we were there quite early, and you guys both see someone that you know who's in the music industry, who like you both say hi to, and did he say hi to you, or did he just walk right past you?
Well, yeah.
Like, did he even acknowledge you?
Like, thanked us.
Yeah, we were howling at that. We were howling at that.
He said thank you.
Yeah, no. So I was like, oh, hi, do you remember me? Like, we did this and this together. Like, yeah, like, how are you? Because sometimes I worry that people don't recognise me, because I've had people not recognise me because like I wear a hat most of the time. So I was like, oh yeah, it's like Bethany, blah blah blah. And he's just like, and then he sees you and like goes like dead behind the eyes, stops listening to us, like goes, thanks, walks past us and walks over to you, and then
beelined towards me. I've never seen a man so hungry. He looked. He literally. It was as if he was drooling
he went,
from
like,
the
dead
mouth.
behind the eyes and like started to like not take in. And
Hi,
then said
I'm Beth.
thanks.
Oh, thanks, man. See ya.
Love my fans.
All right, bye. And he literally beeline towards me, and I like turn my head. I just see this man, or I'm like, hello. He grabs me by the waist, and I literally was like, and I push him off. And I'm like, excuse me, and he's like, hi, I'm blah blah blah, and I was like, all right. And he literally tries to grab me again, and I don't remember what happened at that point because I was kind of drunk.
You were being like polite, but also like very
Like I literally was like
reserved.
this.
You're like, all right,
Yeah, like, please, what are you doing? And all I remember is seeing his eyes,
like looking through you.
and also he was tall. He was like looking down at me, and I was like, "Excuse me."
you just step back.
Yeah, sorry. Can we have some personal space here, sir? Like
And that thing in PE where you like get your arms spread.
literally be whacking him. But literally, like he just said, "Hi, my name is," and I was like, "All right, man, that's cool." And then he just wouldn't. And then I remember shoving him off of me, being like, "Get off of me! What's your problem?"
And then that's when I can't remember how or why we eventually got him to like kind of move on.
It's because
he said, "Oh, I was just leaving, but like maybe now I won't." And then
Yes,
and
he
then we
said
were like,
that.
"I think you should actually maybe just leave."
You went, maybe you should just fuck off. That's we were like, no, you can.
Actually, you should leave.
you should
and then we
just
kind of
please-
like, I think we were like, yeah, like
yeah,
kind
and
of
his
physically,
pal.
like,
Do you remember as we big man pal was like, oh, he just doesn't like mean it. It's just like how he is. And I was like, we'll tell him to not be a predator.
what, are you like his what
Bump
like
buddy.
what like lawyer who cut him out on the outside?
Sorry, literally, it was bad.
And then obviously
I was very triggered because I've been sexually harassed, sexually assaulted many times, and I'd been in court only a couple weeks before for a sexual assault that I experienced. So I was drunk, and I was just like, this is not it.
That's not the vibe.
Yeah, it was not the vibe, and I just go to the toilet. You two follow me in. I start getting emotional. Then this girl comes in who was so lovely, and she was like, "Here, what the hell's going on? It's my."
She didn't even say. They didn't even say it was their club night at first. Like, 'cause we were just ranting, and then she was like, "Oh, it's actually my club night," and I was like,
Yeah,
there you
we
go.
were ranting, and I was like, I'm sick of men. I'm so done with it. I'm sick of people touching me all the time, thinking that they can just come up and touch me. I'm so sick of it. And I said like the name of the guy, and she was like, "He's banned from here.
He's literally banned
He's
from here.
literally
He's not
banned
supposed
from
to be in here."
And I was like, what? And then
Because you were wondering if it was on your head.
yeah, I was
And it's
like,
no.
I literally gaslit myself. I was like, am I
It's
exaggerating?
like, no,
did
he's
he even
not
touch
even
me?
allowed.
Yeah,
to be in
literally.
there.
And you were like, no,
And-
he beelines
And it's
towards
one of
you.
like,
It's a music venue in
it's
Edinburgh.
like one of the main
And
ones.
he's like
and
one of the most up and coming artists.
and he's
Yeah.
not allowed in there.
in Scotland
Bet
right
you
now,
folk don't
and
know
he's not
that.
allowed in there.
Like,
But then,
How fucked is
do you
that?
not remember, Karen? We went outside.
Oh.
Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Me and Karen went outside, and I was still ranting and stuff. This was like maybe an hour later. We were having like
Deep chats outside.
we were just having a deep
DMC.
chat outside.
DMC and
And next thing you know, he comes back. The bouncers let him in, and do you remember he looked at us and smiled?
Yeah.
He literally gave me the creepiest smile, and I was like, "Not my watch!" And I went to the bouncers. He's supposed to be out of here. What the hell are you doing?
wait, I think I was inside with the boys when that happened, and not realising that you were outside, and you said, because I saw him walk in, and then the bouncers come in and take him out.
Take him out because
Because you
and-
were like, no.
no, I was like, absolutely not. No, that's not happening. And he gave me the creepiest smile.
And I remember as he walked out, it's that that way of like, you know.
Well, he knew exactly
you know,
what
like,
he was doing.
He wasn't like he wasn't like fighting it. He was like smiling like like as
He's
he
a
was getting knocked
disgusting
out.
man. And you know what's worse is like when we were in that toilet with that girl, and she was like, "Oh, he's banned." She's like, "Also, he has a horrific reputation. Like,
Yeah.
he's known for this." And then also a guy that I know who does social media and stuff. I remember like the day after I was like, "Oh, actually, I remember this guy. I know like he was gonna work with him or he is working with him. So I'm gonna let him know what happened." And I let him know. And I was like, I don't remember if you said you're working with him or you were thinking of working with him, but like this is what happened last night. Like he harassed me and he grabbed my waist and wouldn't let me go and was in my face, and he's actually banned from this club in Edinburgh. And he got back to me, he was like, actually, I refuse to work with him. I'm surprised he's not cancelled yet because I've heard so many bad stories about him. He has a horrific reputation and he's still up and coming.
Because like,
But
it's so well.
It doesn't change anything though. Like he's still up and coming. He's still getting all these opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So where's this bad
What
reputation?
what point does it have to get to for him
Yeah.
to actually like
When is this?
What do we do?
When's this bad reputation going to kick in? Supposed bad reputation. And it's, we talk about it with each other, but then like sometimes women are a bit scared to like go to other men about it and
Completely.
be like, you maybe shouldn't work with them, or you shouldn't work for them.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
maybe they never find out.
I'm scared. I think it's because I'm so scared of being seen as like over dramatic, or people aren't going to take me seriously, and they're going to be like, oh, like Carron seems to have issues with like guys I work with, and like.
And that's insane.
But it happens.
Of course it does.
But if you brought up every time a guy was a dick to you in a like professional situation,
I probably wouldn't.
You would.
I wouldn't
you'd
have
have
work.
no work. You would seem like a money bitch because it happens all the time.
And this is insane, and this is why we need to start talking about it more, and I'm so glad you guys have come on to talk about it, because it's literally shocking. It's disgusting. And like, even the fact that this man got let back into the club shows how easy it is.
I just can't believe how much a bad reputation apparently doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Like,
completely.
I just
How far, where's the line?
what do you have to do to actually get like work taken off of
Well,
you?
I mean, look at like
The guy I
levels
was
way
referring
higher
to,
than us. Like, look at like major celebs with bad reputations, and people are still like, ah, but good album though. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really.
and the guy I
go
was just
away.
referring to, he still gets so much work. Like he's one of the best in Edinburgh. Like that's not gonna change. There's another like big musician in Edinburgh we know has a bad reputation. Like followed that girl home.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Followed a friend of a friend home.
Mm-hmm.
But
like-
and he's like one of the best in Edinburgh. Like gets all the work.
Or a Central Belt.
We're bleeping out.
Central Belt.
A guy called.
What a boring name.
Right.
Yeah.
Such a boring name.
Just and you know, bringing it back to like having to feeling like you're having to prove yourself as a woman. Like we're out here not sexually harassing everyone and not diminishing other people's work and not locking people in rooms and mansplaining shit, and then we still have to work like twice as hard, but they can just get away with anything.
And like you said, like, you don't want to come across as someone that's like complaining and moaning about people, because people won't take you seriously and you won't be given job opportunities. This is like, it's scary. Like, is this just it? Is this like how we're going to continue to live our lives? Or are we just going to...
Navigating the
Because like, there's so much you just have to put up with, or you're not going to get given the opportunity. Like, you've put up with so much.
I mean, these are like these are like the big stories. It's like this is like the worst of the worst. But if we take it back down to like the level of, there's like every single thing that
Just
you have
like
to deal with.
Like, I get my own equipment explained to me like regularly, like shows, or like I'll have a guitar. And one time I was playing a gig with an old band, and we're supporting this band who, this guy's like, if you're a ma, famous. Like I was like excited to like be on the bill with this guy. And it was like a couple of years back now, and I had just bought this new guitar, and it had a big fat P90, which is a type of pickup in it, and for a Gretsch guitar that's not very common, so I bought it being like, that's fucking sick, like limited edition. And then we go into the venue, and I get there with my guitar and like an amp or something, and the sound guy or whoever the fuck he was comes over and he goes, oh, like, what are you here for? And I was like,
are you lost, little girl?
like, well, I just
I'm actually the exotic dancer at the side of the stage for one of their songs.
And then he's like, oh, vocals. And I'm like, I have a fucking amp in my hand. Anyway, the night continues, and this guy, who's, I couldn't wait to meet this whole night, comes up to me and he goes, oh, hi, sweetheart, really great to see you playing music. And I was like, thank you. Did you know your guitar is like really cool because it's got a P90 in it, and that's really rare. Like, that's a really good guitar you have. And I was like, yeah. No, I spent £500 on it because it's like blue and shiny.
Because it
Sparkly.
looks so pretty.
Yeah.
It's got a wee bit of a sparkle in it as well, that guitar.
That's why you bought it, Kat.
That's why I bought it.
Don't stress your wee brain about it.
The audacity to explain someone's own belonging to them. Can
like,
you
all the time.
imagine? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, sexual harassment in the industry is like, that is like, this is every day. You know, that's we went from the worst to the worst part of it, but this is every single
just
gig.
constantly have to prove yourself.
Every single gig.
That must be exhausting. Like, I've only ever had one person really, like, kind of try to explain podcasting to me, and I was like, I had a podcast before this. Like, shut up. This guy was, like, basically trying to, like, tell me, like, how lucky I am to have, like, Finlay and this set up. And I said, no, I know. And he was like, no, you don't. I was like, have you ever done a podcast before? Like, do you realise how much of a graft this is? Like, I'm not being that person that's like, oh my god, my life's so hard because I do a podcast, but like, it's a lot of work. And also, I did a podcast before with nothing like this, no setup like this, and he just kept telling me that I didn't know. Like, but
I'm telling you.
And also, I'm the one doing this. Like, I do it. Finlay helps me. Like, Finlay edits it for me. Like, I know what I'm like. I'm aware. Thank you very much. Like, but
Listen
I've never.
to the words coming from my mouth. I'm telling you, I do know. Like,
yeah, literally.
What?
And it's like being told, like, no, actually you don't, because you're just a pathetic little girl who doesn't understand shit and you don't have a brain. Like, I'm angry right now.
I'm
like,
getting myself riled up.
I'm 25 and I got called a wee girl very recently by a like huge name at a festival. And I was like, oh my god. He's like, what's a wee girl like you being so good at guitar for? And I was like, what? I was like, I'm 25 and I'm massive. Like, I'm actually humongous. Like,
massive and a fucking professional. Like, this is my job. Like, what?
I was like, I don't know. I played and studied and practiced like you did. Like, sorry, what? I mean, like, he did give me an egg piece, so I was like, oh, like conflicted with how I'm gonna take this now. Like,
breakfast, but misogyny.
But it was hard.
Wait, what on earth? What? Okay. Why don't we round this up? But what would you like to see change? Everything.
Sound engineers.
Why?
Strike a smile. So, you get in and your hackles are up. Like, going into any venue, the hackles are up. I think I actually fear that I'm getting a bit moody. Like, because I'm not in a good mood because like imposter syndrome's there, and then I walk in and I'm like, right, like, what we gonna be faced this today? Like, who's gonna come for me because I'm a woman? Blah blah blah. And then you go in and you're like, you introduce yourself to the sound engineer, and they're just like, straight faced, right? Yeah, put that stuff there. Yeah, it's like, I don't know what is wrong with male sound engineers.
Well, like, I mean, like, and this is just like devil's advocate, like, they live in a fucking hole and spend hours there every night dealing with like,
yeah, to be fair,
men most of the time, other guys.
Yeah.
Like, I would be raging too.
The question is, do they like?
Maybe they're just nervous because they're not around women.
Do they always treat
Yeah.
men like that too?
Maybe
Maybe that's
I
it.
think they're like.
I think
they're just.
bless them.
I would just like cheerier female sound engineers.
Yeah.
I would love that. See, if I walked into a venue and there's a female sound engineer, my tone would change. But it's always like these men that just like are miserable and like don't even give you eye contact. They don't even look at you when you say hi. And God forbid, like, we're like, we forgot a lead. Like, we need to ask for a lead, or we need to ask for like a mic stand.
And you're scared to go ask them for it.
Because they're gonna think they're gonna think the worst of a female asking for an extra guitar lead. And
I do hate that. I do hate when I fuck up, because I'm an idiot because I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot because I'm a woman, right?
Yeah.
But half the time I'm like, oh fuck, like, they can't know I'm an idiot and a woman. Shit.
So I'd love to see more female sound engineers. Like, that would honestly, it makes such a difference. You've got a female promoter and there's just like a female present and like a professional set, and
So you want more females in the industry, basically.
but like specifically in the business,
side
side / tech side. But that's like a whole other thing. Like, that's why I'm so motivated to come across as a producer and not just a singer. Like, it's so important that women are given like more of a platform, more opportunities in the tech side of things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not encouraged from a young age the same way as men are to pick up a laptop, like pick up mics, get in amongst the tech side of it. They're encouraged to sing wee songs, and that's why people always assume you're a singer when you rock up at gigs. They're not as encouraged from a young age to get into that stuff. So I mean, that's not going to change overnight. Like, you walk into a venue and it's like this class female sound engineer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to change overnight, because that's a whole like society. That's like a whole, you need to like put the funding in to children, like young girls, to get into that. That's not going to change overnight, but that's what I want to see. Like if
Societal change.
No, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
See if I was to like tomorrow run into money and get like a fame and a platform, my money would 100% go into like tech classes
Is that a promise?
for
Look
yes,
at the
Write that
camera.
down.
yes. Which one? Young, just like non-binary or female young
Encouraging the youths.
students.
I like that.
Encouraging the use of getting down dirty with the tech stuff. It needs to change.
Yeah. I feel like, I think just the attitude, and I think a lot of guys, as many stories as I have, like I do play with and for like a lot of angels of guys who have like, they have my back like 100% all the time.
Again, bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
But
The bare minimum.
yeah, you're right. But
I know, we're so lucky. We're
Like,
lucky
no,
to play with guys.
That should just be the bare
Bare
minimum,
minimum.
of people not being like, so lucky these men are nice
I'm
to me,
so
and that they
honoured.
take me seriously
Like,
and
you are
think that I'm
the
good.
But just for that
Yeah.
attitude to be widespread across.
Yeah, completely.
They're exemplary.
And it's happening. I think it's, people are beginning to.
Times are changing,
Yes.
but also there's a lot of people getting away with stuff.
Oh,
I don't know if times are changing or if we've just
We're just piping up.
managed to like find our way through all the assholes, and have
There's
found
still a lot
ourselves.
of change needed. Like,
Oh, it's-
we're not
it's-
gonna, I don't
Not
think
perfect, no.
like I don't think this episode's gonna have some happy end and be like, but you know what, like it's great, like
But you know
females,
what,
like
yeah,
yeah, because there's still so much stuff that's going on in the background, like people getting away with a lot, like that guy in the club, like still getting work and things, like so much has to change.
There's always going to be someone there saying, "Who did you shag to get that?"
Oh, yep, quote.
Quote
Mic
direct.
drop.
Bam.
It's
So
always
did you
gonna-
shag?
but I guess just like it's about finding your people.
Yeah.
Just find your people that respect you, support you, and
And I think it's also things like this podcast, talking
Right.
about it, exposing people.
I
mean,
think piping
not by
up-
name, because we don't want any lawsuits.
Piping up as a woman, like I don't, like, for the example of when I was locked in that room, like I regret so much right now not being turning around and being like, what
These
the
are creeps.
fuck, like do you see how bad this could be or look? But instead I was just like standing there like, oh, like they'll let me out at some point. But like I wish I went down and then also like spoke to people about it, and like I don't pipe
But
up
like that's,
or like, give them an earful.
but you shouldn't be beating yourself up about that, because they should never put you in that position
I
anyway.
know.
And there's so
Yeah.
many, like, people go into shock, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some girls are able to pipe up and other girls are just literally like, I don't know what to say right now, because it's never a situation it's not a normal situation to be in. It's not like an everyday occurrence that you're
that's
locked
such
in
a
a
good
room.
point, Gibbs.
Do you know
Like,
what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Like,
can't be like,
but
judging
now you
yourself.
you can never judge, like, and also like there's been times where like, and I'm someone that like I could bloody pipe up for anyone, do you know what I mean? But I don't hold back, and I think about how incredibly lucky I am that I am able to I'm able to like pipe up and like
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah,
do you know
'cause
what I mean?
Because
Because
you can't control it. It's just your
it's just how I am.
away, you know.
And I always think about people that don't.
Don't.
And it, like I just think that is so unfair that we're still like beating ourselves up about that, because it's literally not our fault that we don't have
No.
that voice, you know,
Mhm.
because there's some, like I said, there's people that are able to and there's other people that don't, because that's just how they are.
I think,
Mhm.
which is grim, with living the last 6 years dealing with shit like that. Like I'm now in a place where I'm like, I probably will not take shit anymore. But why did it take 6 years of
Because that's how long it took. And
But
that's
why
getting into situations
why-
like that for me to finally be like, oh, I want to
right,
shout
yeah,
at this man. Like,
But like, why are they doing it in the first place? Why
Yeah.
should you have to be shouting at
Yeah.
them to leave you alone and not lock you in a room and like
that's like a burden that you have. Is like you're like, oh, I could do it now after training. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
it's so messed up.
now I'll look at, like, I'll stand up for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally, you shouldn't have to be in that position in the first place.
And that is literally like years of. I mean, you've been playing in bands since you were
14.
14. That is literally like
Oh, that's a long
10. That's 10 years of
You having to put up with that,
misogyny.
and also you probably just thought it was normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably only like recently you're like, What? That's actually not
Yeah, like
correct.
political awakening.
I'm like, oh, like this happens to me, but not you.
Yeah, literally. Oh, really? People
Like-
don't explain how to use a guitar to you, even though it's what I do for a living. Like, of course you're gonna think that's kind of normal because it's all you're used to, you know.
Mm.
I knew it was bad, but I didn't like. I think obviously I don't hear this sort of stuff every day. But you're experiencing this all the time. That's crazy.
Every single time there's a gig or like a professional setting, there's going to be something. Probably. Whether it's like literal harassment or whether it's a passing patronising comment.
Wow. Honestly, in conclusion, men are shit. Men are shit. Oh my god. I feel really heavy coming away from this 'cause I'm just thinking like I just feel so bad for you guys, even though like obviously like I know that you're happy like doing music and stuff, but I just think this is just so unfair, you know? And like a lot has to change and it's just, you know, like where do you start?
See, whenever I get a bit down about like the state of things, I always think like when I have a platform, I'm gonna invest in making it better, and that's always how I make myself feel better.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to end this.
Yeah.
This is nice. Gonna plug all of your stuff, ladies.
Yeah. So I'm Berta Kennedy, singer-songwriter and producer and performer, and I'm going to have more music coming out soon, and I'm recording an album this year.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
That's what the fund is for. You didn't know that?
I thought you were... Oh, that actually makes sense. I don't know what I was expecting. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to have a headliner in spring soon-ish, and got gigs and stuff coming up. So yeah, that's me. Carron.
What do you want me to say? I don't know what to...
Carron is a multi-instrumentalist, open for work. She can do whatever you want, from the tin whistle to the synth to bass, guitar. She's a teacher.
I know the musical notes. I know them all, and the chords.
She knows them.
And she can actually play the guitar.
She's actually pretty good.
And I can use my equipment all by myself. So,
Carol.
You're such a good girl. That's so exciting. Well done. Love that. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And also, next time if everything else big comes out, come back on and we'll expose them.
Yeah, we should. Maybe we could probably do these like 3 times a year.
I was
We'll
gonna
just
say,
come
why
back.
don't we just do a series?
With all this shit.
The Scottish music industry, all the shit people in it.
Yeah. Exposed. Cancelled.
Thank you so much, ladies.
thank you.